Hello, everyone, and welcome back. As always, I'm your girl, Candy Washington. So, before we dive into today's episode, which is breaking down Real Housewives of Orange County Season 18 Reunion Part 1. So, first, I'm going to talk about how Tamra was basically a raging narcissist throughout this entire Part 1. I'm not a doctor, I don't diagnose, but I'm just going to call it like I see it, very narcissistic. Then I will go into talking about the other girls during the reunion and any other tea or stories that we want to cover. So before we dive in, go ahead and like, subscribe, and share. It is a free way to support the show and push this out to more people. Also, if you are watching live, be sure to say hi in the chat box. Let's have a fun, lively discussion. It's Friday night. Let's have some fun. And if you're watching on the replay, definitely comment down below. I want to hear your thoughts. If you agree, if you disagree, I want to know. Put it down below. So, with that, let's dive right on in. So, let's first break down 11 ways that Tamra Judge used toxic narcissism against Shannon Bedore during the first part of the reunion. Okay? We're going to get into it. The first way is that she became the victim when she was the abuser. So, as we have seen Tamra throughout her entire run and span of the OC, she has been mean, evil, psychotic, narcissistic, and just a terror overall. But in particular, this last season of the OC, she was just awful. I mean, awful to Shannon Bedore. Like, it's not question. It's like there's no question. There's no whose side are you on. Unequivocally, Tamra was just a horrible human being to Shannon. She was the abuser in this situation. The first thing out of her mouth at the reunion is, yeah, I want to explain how you hurt me. I was hurt too. Um, what? I'm confused. What exactly does Tamra Judge have a damn thing to be hurt by? What did Shannon Bedore do to you? Like, I'll wait. Please tell me. What did Shannon Bedore do to Tamra Judge at all? She's only ever been a really good friend to Tamra. Anytime they've beef, it's been Tamra going after Shannon. Whether it's because Shannon's with John Jansen, Shannon's drinking, this, that, and the third. Like, Shannon's done, to be honest with you, Shannon's really done nothing to nobody except for maybe Gina with the DUI stuff. We'll get into that in a little bit. But other than that, what does Shannon do to anybody? Shannon just, hangs out. Anyway, but that's the narcissistic trait number one. They become the victim when in reality, they are the abuser. It's a way to manipulate you, it's a way to shift blame, and it's a way to get you to soothe them. So now all of a sudden it's like, well, how did I hurt you? Like, are you okay? Well, I'm sorry for my part, blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden, the shift comes from how you are hurt and what they did to you to how they are hurt and what you did to them. And then it becomes you apologizing, you explaining yourself, you trying to win them back. It's highly manipulative, it's emotional abuse, and it's a top narcissistic trait. So, off the bat, this chick was whack, crazy, and wild for saying, you hurt me too. How? Like, please tell us how. Narc trait number two, they weaponize their trauma or their healing journey. I'm looking at you, Whitney Rose of Salt Lake City. Again, out the gate, Andy Cohen's like, oh, Tamra said that she's going to therapy. How's that going? And then Tamra with her fake acting ass self. Oh, Andy, thanks for saying that. Like, that whole conversation wasn't staged and scripted. Like, come on. Like, oh, I can't believe you're talking about me going to therapy. Like, what? Tamra, stop. What they do is, and this is what Tamra was doing, they use the fact that they have had trauma or they're going to therapy or they're on their healing journey as a way to disempower you from holding them accountable. Well, I'm healing. I'm on my journey. I'm in therapy. So whatever I did, I have trauma. It's not my fault. I'm on my journey. Blah, blah, blah. These are my feelings. Again, it's a way to take the importance off of your pain and what they've done to you and make it about them again. Now, all of a sudden, well, you're in therapy. I guess I have to forgive you. Oh, you're doing this, you're doing that. I guess you had trauma. I understand. No, just because somebody is in therapy does not give them the right to abuse you. Just because somebody has trauma doesn't give them the right to abuse you. Just because somebody is on their healing journey does not give them a right to abuse you. And it also does not give them a get out of jail free card. You're still accountable for your actions. You're still accountable for how you treat people. So you can't use that as buffer. But again, that's another manipulation tactic. And Andy Cohen needs to shut the hell up. And so does Emily. Emily is horrible, by the way. I'm just going to keep it all the way 100. Emily is a bulldog and she is horrible. Like, Emily, I want you to shut up all day long, and I personally want you fired. You're not the host of The Real Housewives of Orange County Reunion, but you think you are and you act like you are. I digress a little bit. I'll talk more about Emily when we talk about the girls. But girl, bye. I say that because first, the reason why I'm telling Andy Cohen to shut up is because when Shannon said, and this goes to NARC reason number 2, how they weaponize their trauma and their healing and their journey. Shannon's like, well, I'm in therapy. And I loved how she was like, I'm in therapy too. I was like, yes, Shannon, you go, girl. And a part of my therapy is creating healthy boundaries, and having healthy boundaries is not being in relationships with toxic people, which includes friendships. And Andy's like, well, I think Tamra is saying that she wants to take the toxicity out of being friends. No, wrong. Don't enable the narc to continue to hurt people. Your response should have been, and I will tell you what the response should have been, because it should have been the same thing to Emily too. And this is why I said Emily is also horrible. Later on in the reunion, Emily's like, oh, well, Shannon, you apologized to Gina because you said horrible things to her and she forgave you and you guys are good. Like, can't you do the same for Tamra? Listen up, dum-dum. Apples and oranges. The isolated situation of Shannon and Gina, when Gina had her DUI situation and she was going to get arrested, and the kids and this, that, and the third, and what Shannon was saying about that, is a completely isolated situation, very, very different than the systematic takedown evilness, abusive, horrible acting evilness that Tamra Judge has systematically done to Shannon Bedore for an entire season and beyond. It's way deeper than that isolated situation between Gina and Shannon. And Gina and Shannon, they have their little moments, they go back and forth, but it's never been that super deep. I get when Shannon was like, oh, you have a DUI, that's horrible, and the kids, and I know they had their whole moment. Shannon took accountability and really changed course, took accountability for what she did, and then changed her behavior. That is why Gina forgave her. Apples to oranges. Now, Andy Cohen shut up and Emily shut up. When someone, Shannon, finally gets emotionally and mentally strong enough to stand up to the narcissist who is abusing them emotionally, mentally, physically, financially, whatever the case may be, Tamra, again, I'm not a doctor, I don't diagnose. I'm not saying she is a narcissist because I'm not a doctor, I don't know. I'm just saying I'm observing her behavior, and this is my observation and in Tamra's word, it's my opinion. So I am not diagnosing. I am not a doctor. I'm not saying that by any means. But when someone who is mean to you systematically and tears you down and verbally abuses you over and over again, the answer is not, oh, well, that person said that they're going to try to do better, so you should just forgive them. No, they should have said, instead of saying, Shannon, can you forgive Tamra? They should have said, Tamra, can you respect Shannon's boundaries and leave her the hell alone? Why didn't Andy or Emily check Tamra? Why are you trying to convince Shannon to let the devil back into your life, to let the snake back into your garden? No. What you should have said was, Tamra, you need to respect Shannon's boundaries because she's clearly communicating to you, I am done with your bullshit. I'm done with your abuse. I'm done with your shenanigans, and I don't want you in my life, point blank, period. Hard stop. They should have said, Tamra, if you're really apologetic, if you've really changed, if you're really on your healing journey, are you adult enough to respect the boundary that Shannon just created for you? But no, they got to go after Shannon. So shut up, Andy. Shut up, Emily. Okay. Narc trait number 3. They only acknowledge that there is actually an issue between the two of you. And again, I said acknowledge, not take accountability, because those are two different things. Tamra 100% acknowledged that there was issues going on between the two of them, but she never actually took accountability for what she did. What the narc does is they acknowledge that there is an issue, but only if it serves them, only if it's self-serving. Tamra is only acknowledging that there is a problem because she wants to save her job. Because the show did not go the way she thought it was going to go. She thought that the edit, that the fan response was going to be a Shannon hate train. She thought she had this silver bullet because Shannon got a DUI, and so the entire world was going to turn on Shannon, and she was going to be on the right side of history, and she was going to wave her flag. I'm not going to enable you, blah, 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 blah. Girl, sit down. Have rural seats. But because the world, us, the audience, the collective consciousness, we're not idiots, we're not stupid. We have compassion, we have common sense, we're human beings. And we can understand that, yes, Shannon made a mistake. She's a human being, but she's acknowledged it. She's been accountable for it, and she's changing her behavior. And so because Tamra didn't get the response she thought she got, and because her job is probably on the line, that's why she's out here doing the absolute most, talking about, oh, I'm on the spectrum now, and this, that, and the third, just being completely out of pocket, trying to save her job. That is why now all of a sudden, yeah, I did go too far, and like, it's toxic, and blah, 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 blah. She's only acknowledging this because she's trying to save herself, not because she actually cares about the effect it had on Shannon, not because she actually recognizes that she's the person in the wrong. She's only doing it to serve herself. And my number 11 reason, through Tamra's words herself, will prove that, but we'll get there. Okay. Narc reason number 4. They blame others for their own failures or shortcomings. Okay. Did you guys catch in the reunion how Shannon says, once you came back to the show, our friendship never got back on track. We were never as close as we were. And then we see the foreshadowing for the reunion where Shannon's like, you think I took your job 10 years ago, but like, I'm still here. Tamra clearly has held on to resentment to Shannon because Shannon got to stay on the show when her and Vicky were put on pause. I think that Tamra never, quote, forgave Shannon for that, even though there's nothing to forgive. It's not Shannon's fault that Tamra got fired. That's not Shannon's fault. I think Tamra is the type of person who thought that she was better than Shannon. That, Shannon was beneath her. Lowly Shannon. Shannon drinks, and Shannon's divorced, and David is cheating on her, and Shannon's this, and Shannon's that. I think that Tamra thought she was better than her. And I think her ego took a massive hit when Bravo said bye-bye to her, but they kept Shannon. And I think that she's held a grudge, and she's extremely vindictive. And I think that is the true root of her vitriol and her anger towards Shannon, is that instead of saying, hey, maybe I got fired because of me, because whatever job I was doing wasn't good enough or wasn't up to snuff or whatever the case may be, instead of looking in the mirror and being like, well, what did I do to contribute to myself being fired? No, it can't be me. It has to be somebody else's fault, because the narc can't take accountability for when things don't go their way. It's never their fault. Their ego won't allow it. So they have to blame somebody else. And I think that Tamra has been harboring a deep resentment towards Shannon because Bravo kept Shannon when Tamra and Vicky got fired. And it foreshadowed that during this reunion when she was like, once you came back to the show, there was a difference and we really haven't been that close. Of course you haven't been that close because now Tamra sees you as a threat, whereas before she thought that you were beneath her. But when she got fired and you didn't, all of a sudden that dynamic changed. And I think she's been holding on to that. And I think that's the true root of her anger towards Shannon and why she wants to take Shannon down. Okay. Narc reason number 5 is there vindictive. Oh wait, that was number 4. Okay, so number 4 and number 5, I think that was the same, like blaming people and being vindictive. Let's move on to 6. Okay. Narc quality number 6 is that they keep score. It is a transactional friendship. We could do a drinking game, no pun intended, for every time Tamara said during this reunion episode, I was there for you, I had your back, I was there, you were calling me, you were doing this, you were doing that. You know what I mean? We could really play a drinking game, take a shot every time. Oh, sorry, my mic was different. Take a shot every single time you hear Tamra judge. Throw the fact that she was a minimalist friend. Like, that's the bare minimum, that you talk to somebody, that you answer their phone call, that you were the bare minimum level of friend. But that's what narcissistic people do. They keep score. I did this for you back in 1975. Now that it's 2024, you owe me your firstborn child. Get the hell out of here. That is emotionally abusive. That is literally emotionally abusive. When you hold, especially in I know they're not related, but like in family dynamics, when if a mother or a sibling is like, or a parent rather, or a father is like, well, I did this for you when you were a child and now you owe me, that's emotional abuse. Same thing applies with friendship dynamics, with interpersonal relationships. It's like emotional hostage. You're not indebted to anybody for anything. And so she keeps throwing it in her face. And the truth is, I believe Shannon. Shannon was like, you weren't really there for me like that. Like, you were off filming Traitors when I got the DUI. And we hadn't even really been friends like that ever since you came back to the show because you were jealous that I got to stay on the show when you got fired. So again, Tamra is crazy. And another reason why this is narc abuse, let's pretend Tamara's telling the truth for shits and gigs. Let's pretend she's telling the truth and she was so there for Shannon. That doesn't justify your anger towards her. If my friend got a DUI and I was there for my friend and I helped them through it, why would I be angry at them? That's what I don't understand is like the anger that Tamra has, the vitriol. It's deeper than that. And it's very emotionally manipulative to be like, well, I answered your phone call when you called me 3 years ago. So now you owe me and now I'm mad at you because you're living your life. How dare you? How dare you do what you want to do and not do what I want you to do because I was a friend to you 5 years ago. You see how crazy that is? How cuckoo that is? It's insane. It's insane. So let's move on to narc reason number 7. Okay, so narcissists like to insert themselves into your friendships in order to get someone who would be your ally against you. And that's exactly what Tamara did during this reunion part 1 between Shannon and Gina. So out of one side of her mouth, Tamara's like, I want us to work on our friendship. I want to get back on track, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to therapy. Like, girl, shut up, girl, bye. So in one side of her mouth, she's like, yeah, I was too hard on you and I want to be friends. Then literally 2 seconds later, because the question was about, they were talking about how Gina forgave Shannon And Gina was like, well, Shannon, once she got her DUI, her perspective changed. She really owned it. She apologized. She has changed behavior. So, like, of course, I'm going to forgive her. Like, I made that same mistake and I want that same forgiveness. Literally, Tamra did not skip a beat, and she already had a pre-planned comeback trying to get Shannon and Gina to break up their alliance, and was like, well, at BravoCon, Shannon saw Gina, and then afterwards Heather had like a champagne brunch, and she didn't apologize there. She waited to apologize on camera. Like, Tamra thought she was really doing her big one with that. Like, she really thought she was exposing Shannon, and Gina was going to be like, no, I hate you, Shannon, and I'm friends with you, Tamra. I'm obsessed with the fact that Gina is not taking the bait when it comes to Tamra. I am obsessed with the fact that Gina is seeing Tamra for exactly who she is, and she's not turning her back on Shannon. Gina was like, actually, like, I wasn't talking to her at that time. So she didn't even have the opportunity to apologize to me. So, like, don't even try it, Tamra. So again, the narc tendencies. One side of your mouth, you're looking at me being like, I want to be your friend. I want to make this better. The other side of your mouth, you're trying to sabotage my friendships. You're trying to sabotage my reputation. You're trying to make me look bad. You're trying to get Gina against me if I'm Shannon. And this is all in part 1 of the reunion. Not to mention the entire season, not to mention seasons after season. This all happened in 45 minutes. Absolutely crazy. And it sends me. It sends me. Okay. So narc reason number 8. Very similar to number 7. Smear campaigns. Okay. The narcissist, they will do a smear campaign behind your back, sometimes to your face, but definitely to everybody in their circle, in your circle, to the stranger, to the milkmaid, to whoever it is. They will try to malign your character. They will call you a liar. They will lie on you. They want to take away your credibility. So when you tell the truth about them, people won't believe you and people will think that you're the crazy one. This is what Tamra did when she kept saying, Shannon brought it up on the reunion, how Tamra was saying that Shannon was drinking at the rehab facility. And Shannon was like, I was there for 30 days. I got the help I needed. They did random drug and alcohol testing, so I wasn't drinking. And Tamra was like, no, you were. You called me drunk and blah, 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 blah. That is so wrong on so many levels. Number 1, it's a smear campaign. You're going around telling everybody that she's supposed to be in rehab and she's drinking. That's ruining her reputation. That's ruining her credibility. And you're trying to get people not to like her, and you're trying to get people on your side. Number 2, that could jeopardize whatever plea deal or whatever deal that Shannon has. I'm pretty sure she would probably get something way worse if she was caught drinking during her rehab program that was court ordered because she got a freaking DUI. So not only are you trying to get other people to not believe her, you're trying to discredit her, you're trying to malign her reputation and her character, but that could have legal consequences. I'm sure there's stipulations in her plea deal about not a window period of not drinking or completing your court-ordered programs. It's giving Mia vibes from Real Housewives of Potomac, how Mia's trying to get Karen to admit fault in the DUI when she's facing jail time. It's like you're playing with somebody's freedom. You're playing with somebody's life. Like, this isn't a game. This isn't like, oh my God, you wore my dress, or like, oh my God, you ate my cake. No, this is like, you're going to go to jail. The real jail, the clink clink. So it's beyond. So I'm so proud of Shannon for being like, I don't want to be friends with you anymore, period. And I hope she stays 10 toes down on business. I hope she does not fold. I hope she stays firm in her boundaries, because Tamra is a very dangerous person. Okay. Narc reason number 9. They cannot give a genuine apology. I think they spent about 15 minutes of a 45-minute segment trying to get Tamra to say, I'm sorry, without saying, but. She couldn't do it. Oh yeah, I hurt you, Shannon, but you hurt me too. But you did this. But this is that's not an apology. An apology is I am sorry for what I did. Period. Not because, not but this, not and you. Period. That is an apology. That is ownership. That is accountability. But Tamra is incapable of it. She literally could not. And this is the sickest part. I think in her own mind, like she couldn't even get out of her own way. Like I don't even think she could give a genuine apology if she actually wanted to, because I just don't think she's built that way. Like I think there's like a ticky boom. And I'm not talking about being on the spectrum or anything like that, because I personally think that that was so disgusting how she said, "Oh, I did one session of therapy and I'm on the spectrum and I lack empathy and trauma." Like it was so disgusting and it was so disrespectful. So shout out to anybody who is on the spectrum or anybody who is dealing with their own trauma or whatever the case may be. You are not alone. We love you. We are here for you. You are included. And don't listen to her. She's wackadoodle. And just shout out to everybody going through it, whatever the case may be. We love you. But yeah, not having the ability to apologize. She could not apologize to Shannon. And I think another reason why she couldn't apologize to Shannon, because she's not sorry. She genuinely sees herself as the victim, and she cannot bring herself to apologize because she still thinks Shannon owes her an apology. An apology for what? Like, I can't name one thing Shannon has actually done to Tamra. I can't. Like, it's insane. Like, I can't. Okay. Narc reason number 10. They use extremes, and I'll explain what that means, to gaslight you and to manipulate you. So by extremes, it's either all or nothing, right? And I'll tell you exactly when Tamra did this. So when Shannon's talking up to Tamra and she's like, "Look, our friendship is toxic and I'm creating boundaries for myself. I'm in therapy. I don't want to do this anymore. You trash me the entire season. Like, this isn't okay." And Tamra says to her, "Oh, so you're saying our entire friendship is toxic?" That right there is manipulation 101 using extremes, because Shannon's talking about very specific things. This season, you did this to me. This is how it's happened. Now it's become a pattern. Boom, boom, boom. When a narc uses extremes, like think about like if you're arguing with like a boyfriend or a girlfriend about something in particular, like, "Oh, you were flirting with this girl tonight or something and now this is whatever." And they're like, "Oh, well, you think our entire relationship is trash? Like, what about the good times? What about this?" They make it about the entire thing in order to gaslight you into thinking, "Well, no, like our entire relationship isn't bad. No, our entire friendship isn't bad. Well, there are really good times. Well, see, you're overreacting. See, you're being too sensitive." It's a way to make you question your feelings, to make you think you're overreacting, to make you think you're being too overly sensitive, because nothing is all bad and nothing is all good. So when they say, like, when Tamara's like, "Oh, so our entire friendship is toxic," that's very manipulative, because then it makes a person, "Well, no, not the entire friendship. I just mean this." Okay, well, maybe, all right, well, maybe it wasn't that big of a deal. It makes you start to question yourself. It makes you start to think that you're the one who's overreacting because, well, the entire friendship isn't that. And that's why I love Shannon. And this is another sign that Shannon really is doing the work, and that she has a phenomenal therapist, because she did not take that bait. She said, "Yeah, I do think our entire friendship has been toxic. And I'm going to tell you why." Boom, 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 boom. Especially after when you came back to the show. Because I think that is the true fight that Shannon and Tamra is having has nothing to do with her DUI. Nothing at all. And my reason number 11 that I'm about to talk about, using Tamra's own words, I think pretty much proves it. I think it all has to do with the fact that Tamra is still pissed off and vengeful and resentful that she got fired and Shannon got to stay. I think that is the fight that these two women have really been having. I don't think Shannon understood that until later on because Tamra was making it about the DUI. But I think that's the real core fight that these two women are having. And that's why Shannon says, "Oh, you think I replaced you 10 years ago? Well, I'm still here." She's either talking to Heather or she's talking to Tamra because that's a preview. I hope it's Tamra. But in this segment, she was talking to Tamra directly when she said, "When you came back to the show, our friendship wasn't, the same. We were never close after that." So that 100% she was talking to Tamra about that. And I think that's the true reason why. Yes, Tamra is awful and she's been awful to a lot of people at a lot of different times, but I think she's deeply insecure. But I think when it comes to Shannon in particular, I think that's the core issue she has with her. It's her own ego, her own narcissism, all of that. And so, narc reason number 11. When someone is in a fight or an argument and they purposely say the one thing that they know is going to hurt you to your core, that is a sign of a horrible, horrible narc. And Tamra says this in her own words. It's around the 9 minute and 30 seconds to about 10-minute mark, in between that like 30-second window of the reunion part 1, where they're talking about how, "Oh, Tamra, you can't bully Shannon into being sober. You can't bully her into not drinking. Like, do you think you went too hard?" Like, she says she's working on herself, blah, 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 blah. And Tamra goes, "Yeah, well, I say that out of anger." These are her words. She said, "I say it out of anger because I know that's going to hurt her the most in the argument." So you sat there and you admitted that you have all of this anger, and the only reason why you bring up her drinking and her DUIs and all of this stuff is not because you're actually concerned about her the way you've been lying and fronting, but because you're angry and you're trying to hurt her because you want to win the argument. And quite frankly, you're arguing with yourself, because half the time Shannon is like, "What?" And then she gets upset and then she leaves, and you're arguing with yourself, or you're picking fights. That right there to me just proved everything. No, she said it herself. She said, "Yeah, I say it out of anger. And I know it's going to hurt her the most, and I want to win the argument." She says it around the 10-minute mark on Peacock, at least. It's around the 9-minute to 10-minute mark. Okay. I was gonna do a video of it, but you know how they are with copyrights, and I'm not even trying to get them mad at me. But go back and watch that. She says that in her own words. So right there, she is saying, "I am angry at Shannon, and I am using the DUI and I'm using the drinking as a way to hurt her and cut her down so I can win in the arguments, because I know that is what is going to hurt her the most." That's what Tamra herself said. She didn't say, "I say it when I get heated out of concern. I'm worried she's going to hurt herself. I'm worried she's going to hurt somebody else. I'm a concerned friend." No, she said, "I'm pissed off and I want to hurt her and I want to win the argument. That's why I say it." And I think that was one of the most truthful things Tamra Judge has ever said. She is a deeply disturbed, angry person. And it's cliche, but hurt people hurt people. And she takes out her anger and she takes out her pain and she projects it on other people. We're talking about Shannon in this moment, but she did it to Jen. She's done it to Vicky. She's done it to Heather. She's done it to Gina. She's done it to everybody. She's horrible. But there you have it. Those are my 11 ways that Tamra Judge used toxic narcissism against Shannon Beador in the reunion part 1. So stick around because I'm going to get into the other ladies on the reunion, but I want to know what you guys think about this. What do you think about Tamra? What do you think about Shannon? Should Tamra come back, or does she need to be put on pause again? And if you were Shannon, where would you stand with Tamra? Would you be friends again, or would you stand 10 toes down on business and keep her out of your life? So as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. So with that, let's talk about the other ladies during the reunion, okay? Let's talk about the other ladies. So we covered Tamra and Shannon a lot. Let me see if there's anything else about Shannon I wanted to share. Okay, Shannon looks healthy and she looks happy. She looks calm and stable and very clear. The work is working. She looked a lot better on camera than her photo did. So I'm here for it. I'm 100% here for Shannon. I thought she looked really good. And I love that she's standing 10 toes down when it comes to Tamra. And she's like, well, in my therapy, I'm doing healthy boundaries, babe. I'm doing healthy boundaries. And it is what it is. Absolutely love that. Okay. Now let's move on to Emily. Because Emily is horrible and the absolute worst. And I'm going to call her a bulldog. Has nothing to do with her looks. It has everything to do with her energy and her disposition. I'm confused, Emily. Is Andy Cohen the host, or are you the host? Why is Emily doing like research dissertations on everybody's business and everybody's life and this, that, and the third? And she gets away with it. How come nobody calls out Emily on all of her stuff? Why does she have files on everybody's business, especially Jen's? Like, stay out of Jen's business. We came after Tamra for doing background checks. We came after Katie for checking into Heather's paparazzi photos. When are we going to check Emily for doing, research term papers on everybody's business and life? Emily, you need to get a life. You do. She's like, well, I have a question. I read this article. And then she talks like her opinion is the truth and the facts. It's all conjecture. You're an attorney, Emily, which is your entire personality, even though you don't practice it. Emily, you're not an attorney. You play one on TV. You stopped practicing law, but every other word out of your mouth is, I'm an attorney. But you don't actually practice it. So shut up. You're not a lawyer. You're not. Who are your clients? When was the last time you had a case? Do you have court right now? I'm confused. Shut up, Emily. It's bizarre to me. What is Emily's storyline other than being a bulldog, other than getting dirt on other people and writing these term papers on their entire life, other than being like me and reading reality blurb all day and then being like, I read this article about you? Like, Emily, get a life. What is Emily's storyline? All season, all she did was whine and cry and get into other people's business, and she had no storyline. First of all, I was obsessed when Jen, and I'll talk about Jen too, because like Emily and Jen are kind of intertwined because they were going at it at the reunion. I was obsessed when Jen was like, well, I read that your in-laws fund your life, and Emily finally shut her trap and piped down. Because this is the thing, Emily, how dare you? How dare you come after Jen and be like, I don't respect you because your daddy helps you out, and now your husband helped you out, and now you're relying on Ryan and blah blah blah. And like, I just want her to like work for something and to be independent and yeah. Emily, your whole life is subsidized not even by your husband, but by his parents, and you have the audacity to talk about Jen, whose life is subsidized by her own father, her own husband, who she popped out 3 or 4 kids for, her man, Ryan. I'm sorry, but I would rather have my father, my husband, or my man subsidize my life rather than the parents of the whole man I'm married to subsidize my life. So shut up, Emily. You're researching everybody else's business. Why don't you get some business of your own? Is Shane, whatever the hell his name? I actually really like Shane. I like Shane more than like Emily. Is Shane practicing law? Is Bravo your only income check? and the rest comes from your in-laws, but you have the audacity to go after Jen because she is a woman who's being supported by the men in her life. Girl, bye. Like, shut up. Miss me with all of that. Like, miss me with all of it. It's not even your husband's money, it's his parents' money. And you have the audacity to be mad at Jen because her man is holding her and her children down. Say what you want about Ryan, and we'll talk about his legal issues, but he's holding her and her children down. And you are coming at her for that? What's the point? You do realize you're on a show called The Real Housewives. And with all of your education, Emily, as an attorney, do you know the definition of a housewife? The definition of an actual housewife is a woman who does not work and is financially supported by her husband or her man. That's the literal definition of a housewife. So to be honest with you, Jen is more of a housewife than you are, because the last time I heard, housewives are an in-law's housewife. Like, where's your money coming from? Get a job, Emily, since clearly you have the time to do your little research on everybody. I read this article, and this is what this is, and the way she talks. Okay, Emily, you're trash. And I mean trash with my whole entire chest. And I'm going to tell you why she's trash. When she brought up the fact about Katie and Katie's children, that was disgusting and such a low blow. How dare you get up there and talk to this woman about the custody of her children and whether or not she's unfit and why didn't you have kids? And in California, you're either unfit or you're this, or you just signed them away. Like, why is that? I don't understand it. Emily, just like Jen said, it's not for you to understand or to approve of. Who on this planet is looking for Emily for validation about a damn thing in their life? Not me. Not Jen, not Katie. And Emily was so trash for that, because let's segue to Katie. This is what I think happened to Katie. And this is just me reading between the lines. I think Katie's first husband was extremely abusive. My gut is saying physically. And I think she had to flee him because she said that she was with her 3 little kids. She was homeless. She had nowhere to go. She said she was living in some place and she wouldn't say the name. To me, that reads he was beating her ass, she fled with her kids, and she probably went to a shelter for battered women. And the reason why she probably had to give up her parental rights, because he was the one who probably had the money, he was the one who had the connections, and that happens way more than you want to admit. That it's the woman who is being abused. She flees for her own safety, but it's the man who has the money and the connections who still has all the rights and alienates people. That is what, and you can see it in Katie's face. You can hear it in what she says. And shout out to Heather Dubrow, because Heather Dubrow, even though Heather and Katie were beefing the entire season about the dumb paparazzi photos, if you watch the I don't know if it's on the Bravo version, but it's on the Peacock version. Shout out to Heather Dubrow. She's a real one. I love Heather. I know Heather didn't have a great season. I was disappointed that she's up Tamra's butt. I understand that. But I like Heather. Shout out to her. She goes over to Katie and she says, "I'm so sorry about your children." And she specifically said, "I was not going to bring that up." That is a real one. Because it is so clear. So clear. Again, this is just my opinion. I think Katie was in a very abusive relationship. She fled that situation. And you might be like, well, why did the son stay with the dad if he's the dad? Come on. Anybody with common sense understands that a lot of times children will side with the abusive parent. Children will be alienated from the parent who's being abused, especially the youngest one may not understand everything. You know what's going on. I think Katie chose safety and survival. There is no part of me believes that Katie was abandoning her children by any way, shape or form. And for Emily, who threw a temper tantrum because Katie's daughter said that her boys were saying Heather was yelling at her. And by the way, I do think the boys heard Emily and Shane and probably Gina bad mouthing Heather, because what they said is exactly what they say about Heather behind their back. I do think it was inappropriate for Katie's daughter to engage in that type of conversation with the boys and bring it to the show. However, that is leaps and bounds than what Emily did. Like, how dare you? Especially when Katie's youngest boy wasn't even on the show. He lives in Atlanta with his father. Like, it wasn't like, you know what I mean? It wasn't like a thing for her to bring up. Like, how dare you bring that up? And she brought it up after the fact. Katie had already said she had 3 kids and was homeless and had nowhere to go. To me, that reads, I'm in an abusive relationship. I'm fleeing for my safety. Hello? Emily was trash for that. She's absolutely horrible. Going after Jen with the whole Ryan stuff. Get a life, Emily. And if you can't get a life, at least get a storyline. Nobody cares that you're working out. Nobody cares that Shane has a personal trainer. Nobody cares about the fact that you're crying because Heather said, bring some jeans to a fashion show. What? That's all you got this season, Emily? Who cares about that crap? Nobody. You're not the host of the show. Why did you come with prepared questions for everybody? Emily, go figure out, go do a case. That's right, you don't practice law anymore, so shut up. Emily is horrible to me. Absolutely horrible. Hypocrite. She needs to go. She needs to go. After she did that to Katie, that was disgusting. You could see Katie like breaking. And Heather goes over to her. Go back and watch, and she says, I'm so sorry. I was not going to bring that up. That's a real one, where you understand that there's levels to this. Sure, you're at the reunion, you beefing with people, paparazzi photos, this, that, and the third. You're at Sutton's party, That's fine. That's fair game. But to bring up the fact that she had to give up the rights to her children because she was fleeing an abusive relationship? And Emily, you act like you're so smart. Why are you playing dumb? Like you don't understand what Katie was saying or what Katie has been through. I don't get it. Like in California, a mom give up the rights. You're unfit, or they just shut up, Emily. Worry about your own children who are out here spilling the tea about what you and Shane are talking about around the kitchen table. Worry about your own kids. You had a freaking meltdown about that. But you want to be on national television talking to this woman about that? I can't. Emily's trash for that. She is. And I say that with my whole chest. She's trash for that. All right. Let's talk a little bit more about Katie, then I'll get into Jen and we'll follow up and then we'll wrap it up with Gina. Okay. Oh, Heather too. Okay, so Katie. I talked about how I think that basically what she was saying was she was running away from an abusive ex. Now, the thing about Katie is this. I like Katie, but she did herself a huge disservice by not understanding that Gina was talking crap about Heather privately. That was kitchen table talk. And Katie brought kitchen table talk to the show, and Gina didn't want that smoke from Heather. That's what I think happened. I think Gina, I think Emily, I think Tamra, I think they all talk crap about Heather behind her back. I don't think any of them actually like her because they're all jealous of her. They want her life. They want the money. They want the prestige. They want the $55 million houses. They want it all. They're jealous as hell. None of them actually like Heather. Not because there's anything wrong with Heather, but because they're jealous of her. That's why Heather needs to find a different caliber of friends, to be perfectly honest with you. I would actually love Shannon and Heather. I think that them together would be amazing. That's a duo I think would be really fun. Anyway, I think that Katie thought she had an ally in Gina. And when she brought it to the show, she quickly realized Gina is not your friend. You were just a person Gina used to badmouth Heather. because Gina's not going to burn that bridge with Heather. She's not. She wants the real estate connects. She doesn't want the smoke. And that's where Katie messed up. She should have just given up and was like, oh, this is wrong. But she dug her heels in about the paparazzi stuff, which I agree with Heather. Why do you care? Like, you just need to let it go. So that whole situation was bizarre, and she should have let it go. Now, with all of her conflicting stories, I think that I don't think Katie is necessarily a liar. I just think that when it comes to Emily and like Gina going after her, like your stories don't make sense and all this stuff. To me, Gina and Emily have always done this, and I don't like them for that. Very similar to how Heather, Gay, and Whitney are on Salt Lake City, where they think that their own theory is truth, and then they repeat it as if it's the truth. And when you say what the truth is, they call you a liar because your truth is not what they think in their heads. And I think that is the disconnect with what's going on with Katie. Now, the whole situation about Katie and some guy was driving and he was swearing at her and filming her, and then the guy had to go to jail and all this stuff. I don't really care. To me, that sounded more like, I think that story is somewhere in the middle. I don't think Katie drove to this man's house, because if she drove to his house, I'm pretty sure she was the one who would have been arrested, not him. Like, why would the cops come to his house when a stranger followed him to his house? So that part didn't make any sense. Do I think she was texting and this guy probably got pissed off and was like yelling at her and taping her? Yeah, I think that part is true. But I don't think that she followed him to his house and the cops came to his house and then arrested him because a stranger followed him home. That makes no sense. If they are out on a public street and the cops come and she's like, this guy is yelling at me, I have 3 little kids, and the guy is upset and he's popping off and he's not cooperating with the police, and then the police take him in, that makes way more sense. Why would the police tase him at his own house when she followed him there? That doesn't make any sense. I think that she probably was texting. He probably did get triggered and something popped off, but I don't think she followed this man to his house when she had 3 kids in the back. She probably mouthed off to him, mind your business. And he probably was like, well, you need to be more safe and I'm going to videotape you. And then it escalated from there. The police came. She's a woman with kids. He's a man mouthing off. And it probably went down like that. But then Emily, with her big bulldog crap, being like, oh, some guy went to prison. I'm sorry, but nobody takes you to prison for a traffic violation for 2 people beefing outside. You go to jail. So Emily, maybe this is why you don't practice law, because half of the time you don't know what you're talking about. You're talking out of both sides of your mouth. Emily, pipe down and shut up. Prison? Shut up, Emily. You're insane. Katie, to me, she can be a one-hit wonder. If she comes back, maybe a friend of capacity to Jen, and then maybe she can redeem herself. But I don't need Katie back full time. I don't. That's just how I feel. Let me know what you guys think about that. Jen, okay. My theory on Jen is this. I'm not saying this is an unpopular opinion, but I think that this is a perspective to think about when it comes to Jen. What's that song where it's like, don't save her. She don't want to be saved. Don't save. I can't sing. That is what I think about Jen. I don't think Jen is stupid or naive. I think Jen knows exactly who Ryan is. I think she knows exactly I'll just say alleged, because people like to sue people around here. I think she knows exactly his involvement in the alleged fraud. I don't think she cares. That's why she was crying and said, I effed it all up. And then she tried to backtrack it at the reunion when Andy was like, well, what did you mean when you said I effed it all up? And she was like, oh, well, like they're only using Ryan's name because of the show and blah, 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 blah. What she really meant, and this is my opinion, was I effed it all up. Yes, because she's on the show and she brought attention to what they were doing. But I don't think that she realized that the FBI was probably already onto them before she even got on the show, because they investigate people for a long time. So in her mind, she probably thinks, well, they probably could have kept the scheme and the scam and the fraud going, and they could have still had this life and everything could have still been going if she wasn't on the show. I think she thinks that the show brought light to the scheme and the scam. Whereas I think the feds were already on to the scheme and the scam. You know what I mean? Also, if Ryan had immunity and she knew he had immunity, then why was she so distraught and crying and so upset? And Ryan went his way, she went her way, and they were all crying when this article came out. If she was like, oh, but we already knew the article was coming out and he already had immunity and he didn't do anything, then why were you guys upset and crying and you're crying to everybody? If you already knew this stuff, if he already had immunity, if everything was cool, he didn't do anything, then why that reaction? I'm only crying, I'm only upset, I'm only thinking I ruined everything if there is the threat that Ryan's going to jail, that everything is crumbling down, that he is guilty, that something's going to happen. If the entire fraud situation was only Matt, his, in his own words, his money laundering friend, his money laundering partner, if it was only Matt and Ryan had no knowledge, no, participation, then why was Jen acting like their entire world was destroyed and over? Doesn't make any sense. You're only acting like that if you're guilty, if you're worried that something's going to happen to you. You're not acting like that if nothing's wrong and everything's cool. Sure, you could be sad that Matt might be getting in trouble, but your whole world isn't crumbling down because Ryan's friend Matt is in trouble. Your whole world is falling down if Ryan is in trouble, and maybe you're in trouble too because you were dipping it and doing it with him. And that brings me to what I'm saying about Jen. I don't think Jen cares. I don't think she is this, and I like Jen, and I love the fact that she's speaking up against Tamra. But I don't think that she needs to be saved. I think she's a willing participant in the BS. Now, I'm not saying that she is participating in the actual fraud or in the actual scheme. I'm not saying that. But do I think she's complicit? Where she's just sort of like, hey, let's go to Vegas, buy me this stuff, let's do whatever. Let's go here. Let's hang out. I don't care where the money is coming from. I don't care if you're doing something shady. Don't tell me the details because I don't care. Yeah. I don't think Jen might be naive, but she's not dumb. She's not stupid. I think she knows exactly who Ryan is, and she doesn't care. That's why she said, I messed everything up. Because she knew the deal. Every Clyde has a Bonnie. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Jen is some naive little deer in the headlights, oh, what? I don't know. Sure, I think that's a bit of a facade. It's a bit of a cover. At the end of the day, I think she knows exactly who Ryan is, and she's okay with that. I don't think she cares about the fraud. I don't think she cares about the money laundering. I don't think she cares about any of that. As long as Ryan isn't going to jail and the money keeps coming in, I don't think she cares. And that's a bigger conversation. I'll just say very quickly because it's a much deeper conversation, more around misogyny in our society. And what I mean by that is there's this default thinking that women are stupid, that women are victims, women are naive, we don't have a clue, we don't have our own agency, we don't have, strategy or schemes and scams or bad sides or evil. There's this sort of like, I don't even know what to call it, but there's this sort of stereotype that women are just like, oh my God, what do you mean Ryan's a bad guy? No, he's not. But you know what I mean? Whereas, why is no one telling the truth? Jen doesn't give an F that he is a fraud. She doesn't care. Very similar to Erica Girardi. Erica Jane Girardi. Do I think she knew what he was doing? 100%. Do I think she gave a damn? Not 1 ounce. Not 1 ounce. Kyle Richards. You think Kyle doesn't know that Mauricio's firm, the agency, has about 10 different lawsuits going against them for fraud any given Sunday? Every time you look around, that company is being sued for fraud. They're being sued right now for, I think, $3.5 million for fraudulent PP loans. You think Kyle cares that Mauricio is being sued every single day? Or does she know what's up? And as long as the checks roll in, she don't care. There is that weird thing where women are either docile weaklings and oh my God, you know, like, no, 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 no. Us women, we are smart. We are strategic. We have our own moral compass. You know what I mean? And it's like, I personally don't think Jen cares. I don't think she cares. That's why she was crying and saying, I ruined everything. So you knew that there was something to be ruined. And she's not stupid. Well, what do you guys mean, immunity? To have immunity means that you did something wrong, and that's an up to, like, immunity in of itself means protection from, right? Like our immune system protects us from disease. So when you have immunity, it's protecting you from the ill that you did. Immunity, our body protects us from disease/illness. Immunity in law protects you from the ill, the illegal, the wrongness that you did. You have protection from being prosecuted for what you did wrong. So the only reason why they would give him immunity is because he did something wrong. He's just giving them more bait to catch the bigger fish. Doesn't mean, when you have immunity, doesn't mean you're innocent. In fact, it means the opposite. It means, yeah, we could persecute you, but we're going to give you immunity. We're going to protect you from what you did in order to give us more bait to get the bigger fish, who's Matt. Jen can act dumb all day long, but the chick is not stupid. She knows who he is and she doesn't care. And we have to start giving women more credit. Now, do I agree with her? No. Me personally, I'm not dating a man who's involved in fraud, alleged schemes, immunity plans, money. No, not today, Satan. No, thank you, sir. Okay? No, thank you. But I think we have to start giving women more credit, that we are smart, that we do know what people are doing, and that even though you may not agree with our choice, it is still our choice to make. And that sometimes we act against our own self-interest by dating a man who's involved in alleged fraud. But that's kind of where I stand with Jen. I think she's a willing participant. And I talked about how I love that she stuck it to Emily. It was like, well, I read that your in-laws fund your life. And Emily shut all the way up. All the way up. Emily needs to get a life. Okay. Now let's talk about, we talked about Gina. Only a couple things about Gina. Number one, I don't think Gina likes Heather. I've said it 1,000 times. I'll say it again. I think she's jealous of her, and she'll never be able to be a real friend to her because she resents her for everything that she has. I don't think she likes Travis. I think she's sticking with Travis because it's convenient, because they're in business with all of the real estate stuff. I think that's why she's still with him, for the business aspect of it. I think once she figures out a way to separate the real estate business, because did you notice when she did the sold thing, it said Travis' names first and then underneath her name. So they're doing like the real estate business together. I think that once she figures out how to separate their businesses, she's going to like officially leave him. She already moved out or kicked him out, whatever the case may be. They're living in separate homes. Just pull the plug, girl. But I think the real estate business is keeping them together. Now, this is where I think Gina is dead wrong. Dead wrong. And I haven't really heard a lot of people talking about it. when Gina talks about Travis's ex, it's very disturbing for a number of reasons. Number one, this woman is the mother of the children that you claim to be a second mother to, that you are raising your children with, that are the children of the man you claim is the love of your life, right? Don't you think that there are repercussions for calling this woman crazy and psycho and horrible and all these things? Like, you made this woman an entire storyline for you on the show when, number one, I don't even know this woman's name. I don't see her on the blogs. She's not on the podcast. She's not on the blogs. She's not doing press releases. She's not doing red carpets. It would be one thing if she was like an Alexis Bellino or a John Jansen or somebody like that, who was out here doing the absolute most, trying to be in the public eye, publicly bad-mouthing you. I think the only thing we know about the ex is whatever happened in court documents that got leaked, but I don't think it was the ex who actually leaked them. She's not, I don't even know her name, don't know what she looks like, right? So why are you out here maligning this woman when she's not even on the show to defend herself? And she's also the mother of the kids that you're a second mother to and raising your kids with Travis. That's not cool. Oh, that's right. You're bad mouthing her because there's all the stuff out there in the legal documents where she's claiming that there's violence in your household. Allegedly, you pushed Travis down the stairs. This is my opinion, but I think Gina did, because Gina has been way too calm. Anytime that subject has come up, she's been way too calm, whereas she's really much trying to control the narrative, not get it out there, not get out of pocket. I think if it was a lie, she would be more enraged, but she's been way too calm about the whole thing. I think her bad mouthing Travis's ex is a bit of damage control around that. But Gina, you can't have it both ways. You can't say, I'm going to be mad at anybody. Excuse me, I need a call. Sorry. Gina, you can't have it both ways, okay? You can't say, I'm going to be mad and pissed at anybody who brings it to the show, which ultimately, of course, it was Tamra who brought it to the show. Who else would do that but Tamra? But you actually can't be mad at them for bringing it to the show if you are going to try to do damage control without actually talking about what you're doing damage control about. All you've been doing all season long is calling this woman crazy, calling her psycho. She's creating so many problems, money problems for Travis. She's out here lying, blah, 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 blah. We don't know this woman's name. I don't even know what she looks like, because this woman's out here minding her business. And you're on an international platform calling her crazy and psycho and then going home to her kids. And that's a problem. That's a problem. And why is nobody calling Gina out on this? So you want to talk about this woman like she's a dog, but then you don't want anybody to bring up the fact that the reason why you're so mad at her is because in court documents, allegedly she's saying, or whoever is saying in her camp, about unhealthy habits going on in your household, but they're not allowed to bring that up. You can't have it both ways, Gina. You either need to come to the show and say, hey, this is what happened, this is what was said, and I'm going to clear it up, or keep that woman's name out your mouth. She's not on the show. She's not doing any interviews. And you are around this woman's children, and you don't think that children are going to pick up on the fact that you constantly call their mother crazy and psycho? And I don't care how cool stepmom you are, Gina, a mother is a mother. And they are going to feel that. But nobody calls Gina out on that. And I think she's going to play victim. Like, I'm just so scared. Like, girl, you need to stop. That's kind of where I land on Gina. This could be Gina's last season for me. I've said it since she got on the show. I don't think it's I mean, to me, Gina and Emily, they could have been gone. I don't know why they came in the first place, to be honest with you. They could have been gone. All right, let's talk about Heather. As you guys know, I love Heather. I do. I'm disappointed in her this season because she's aligned herself with Tamra, but I think Heather's going through it. I don't think she's happy. I think she's kind of, again, I'm not a doctor, I don't diagnose, but she seems a bit depressed to me. I'm not a doctor. I'm not speaking on I don't mean to speak on anybody's mental health or anything like that. I'm just saying that she's giving signs of someone who isn't happy. Her energy is very low. Um, she doesn't seem, I don't know, she doesn't seem really present in her body. I think she's going through it. I think she's kind of looking at her life and it's like, this is not what I signed up for. And people may think on the surface, oh, she has these houses and this money and her married to a plastic surgeon. She's on a reality show. I don't think any of that is how Heather envisioned her life. I think she thought that she was going to come to LA, make it big as like an actress, be on like a sitcom or like a TV show or like a movie, something like that. And I think that I don't know. I just think she saw her life going differently, and so one person's blessing is somebody else's burden. So just because she has like the money and this and that doesn't mean that she's fulfilled or happy. I don't think she's happy. I think the Terry cheating rumors really got to her. I think the fact that she has 4 children and 3 of them are LGBTQIA, I think she loves them and accepts them, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I do think that when you realize that like your life and your children's life doesn't look the way you envisioned it, that's a mourning process. Again, I think she 100,000% loves and supports her children, of course, of course, of course, of course. But still, that has to take a toll on, just how you envisioned things and how you saw things going. Doesn't mean anything's wrong, doesn't mean anything's bigoted, doesn't mean there's any judgment around it. It just means you have to get adjusted to your new normal and what you think your life would look like. I think that's a huge thing for anybody, Um, I don't think her and Terry are as happy as she claims they are. I think she has a lot of regret around the way they've managed their marriage, to be honest with you, like how she gave up her dreams of acting to support him, being a plastic surgeon, this, that, and the third. I don't think she saw herself being on a reality show, hanging out with Gina and Emily all day. I think she saw herself as like a Jennifer Aniston or Julia Roberts or Courtney Cox or somebody like that, or like a Jenny McCarthy, people who she kind of came up with. I think she saw herself more having like that type of life. Maybe married to like George Clooney instead of, Terry Dubrow. And nothing wrong with Terry, but I just think that Heather saw it differently for her life. And I think she's really sad and kind of going through it. And that's kind of, and I want Heather to be happy. I want her to find her happiness. I want her to do like Shannon and look at Tamra and be like, I do not want to be your friend. Because Tamra is not your friend, Heather. Get it together. We saw the whole thing when it came to like Shannon, when Shannon came to her with like the bloody photo and everything. And Heather was like, oh my God, Shannon. And then she flipped on her with the whole Jeff Lewis thing. This is the thing. If Tamra came to you, Heather, and said, oh, I already saw that photo, or if prior to seeing the photo, Tamra told you she saw the photo, the person you go to talk to about it is Shannon, not the other girls. That is the issue Shannon had. You didn't come to Shannon and be like, oh, I heard you on Jeff Lewis, what's up? Or, oh, Tamra told me that you already told her this. You guys had basically ran Shannon out of her own, when they were in London, of her own birthday trip. And then you guys were wasted and you were bad-mouthing her, talking about everything. And then Gina went back and told Shannon what Heather was saying about the bloody picture and how she felt used and all that stuff. That is where your misstep was, Heather. Number one, you let Tamra get in your ear because it's clear as day you're just regurgitating what Tamra told you. Oh, you were using me. Oh, the bloody photo. Oh, the Jeff Lewis thing. Like, that was 1,000% Tamra, and you're just regurgitating what she fed you. What you should have did was, if you had a question about it, go to the source. Go to Shannon and say, hey, this is what Tamra said, or this is what you said on Jeff Lewis. Let's talk about it. You don't talk crap about her behind her back and then feel some type of way when she confronts you about it. I will give Heather credit that she did apologize and she did take ownership. She said, I know what I did was wrong and I apologize for it. Let's start over, building that trust. That's how you actually apologize. Because I don't think Heather is a narcissist at all. At all. I think Heather, she might be very type A, but she's not a narc by any means. She doesn't display narcissistic tendencies. Because narcissism isn't like, oh my God, I'm amazing, I'm so great. That's not narcissism. That's like the cool narcissism. That's not the real one. Heather is not narcissistic at all. She's very empathetic. She's actually very warm, even though she appears to be cold. She's not. She's actually very loving, very warm, knows how to apologize, knows how to take accountability, all of that stuff. I think she sometimes gets a bad rap with the whole fancy pants and the money and the champers and all that. I think people judge her a lot, but I actually think Heather is really sweet and has a really big heart and is very, very warm. I think she's going through it right now. I think being friends with Tamra makes Heather lesser. I really wish she would cut ties with her. Get together with Shannon. Heather, that's my biggest note for you. Get together with Shannon and also get some friends that are on your level that will bring out your light rather than trying to dim your light because of their own darkness. You know what I mean? That's what I would say about that. Now, I think that's everyone, right, guys? I do. I think we got everybody. So we'll see next week with part 2. My hope, I don't have any predictions for part 2, but my hope is that Shannon stays 10 toes down on Tamra's neck and does not relent, do not give in. I hope that they give Emily a muzzle and they shut her up. She is a bulldog. She's a stay out of people's business. And yeah, I'm looking forward to see what happens. So as always, let me know what you guys think. Feel free to drop it down in the chat box below. Are you watching? Whose side are you on? What do you think is going on with all the ladies? And what are your predictions for part 2 of The Real Housewives of OC? So with that, I will drop the link in case anybody wants to come up. No pressure if you don't. And I'll take some of your candy cane questions and comments in the meantime. All right, you guys. Hey, April. April says, it's been a while. Hola, ¿cómo está? Estoy muy bien, gracias. Hey, Tay. Hey, Dewan says, oh, Zimpra. Hey, Cheryl says, hi from the UK. Hi, sweetheart. Hi, the tea lady says, hi, Candy. Hi. She goes, I'm in England. Oh, that's right, the tea lady. Welcome. Tamra trying to be demure to keep her contract. That part, 100%. Tamra is only taking fake accountability, acknowledging the situation because she doesn't want to be fired like Lisa Rinna. Hey, Miss T says, hello, Candy and all the Canes. Hello, hello. That's right, you guys. Hit the like button and subscribe. Yes, yes, yes. Hey, DeOne says, you're in the hood now, baby. Miss T says, narcissistic behavior, 100%. Yep. Tay says, and the pathetic autism stunt. Yeah, I mean, for Tamra to say that she's on the spectrum and she lacks empathy because she has trauma was absolutely crazy, totally whack, and I'm not here for it at all. Hey, Kristen says, then she goes and pretends to be autistic. Exactly. Tamra has so many excuses. Yep. Emily was all over the place this week. I can't with Emily. Emily needs to be fired. The bringing up Katie's children, Emily needs to be fired. And what's her storyline? What's going on? And the thing is, you either need to have good story or you need to have good personality. Like Garcelle to me never has, well, not never, but usually does not have good story. But Garcelle has good personality. You know what I mean? When she's there, she's the mood, she's a vibe. You know, she's good in a scene. She has good personality. I just enjoy watching her. So she doesn't need good story because she is her. She's the story. But Emily, I can't watch her. I can't listen to her. It's too much. Exactly, Missy says, Emily's trying way too hard. I agree. Kristen says, don't forget though, Shannon was trying to take down Gina again this year with her BS Travis. How is Shannon trying to take down Gina with her boyfriend Travis this year? I thought what happened was Tamra brought up the fact that Shannon wanted information on whether or not Gina pushed Travis down the stairs for the reunion last year. Because this was last year's reunion, but Shannon did not bring it to the show. And it was Tamara who told Shannon about it. I don't think that was this year. The tea lady said Emily had a terrible season apart from being the fat one. What else? Oh, bloop. Hey, Adam, you want to?
Hi, Candy. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good,
Hey,
good.
Johnny, want to share?
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good. How are you? So we'll have
Uh,
Adam sound off, and then you, Johnny.
Okay.
um, right. So, other than Shannon, the rest of this cast has disappointed me in some way or another. I would say, you know how you were saying earlier in like other reviews that you want to see like a Shannon and like a Heather type of season?
Yes, I would love that.
That I kind of want that energy because the best thing that Heather Dubrow ever did was get Shannon on this show because Shannon was introduced to us by Heather when Heather was building the dream house, which she sold for the 50 whatever million. And I I just feel that you have these people like Emily who like plays that kind of facade that she's always nice, but when you actually deep it, she's not. And what you said about the Katie situation, I mean, when I saw that, I was just like, are you really going to go that deep that you're going to just. You could see that the poor lady was not like she was getting emotional and she actually looked quite, I hate to say it, quite broken. And then just to sabotage her like that was just awful. And I kind of Jen's done nothing wrong, but I kind of agree with what you were saying that you have these Ericas, these Kyles, whatever, that just don't, they know kind of deep down what's going behind the scenes. But I kind of feel that when she's backflipped and was like, I messed up, whatever, that kind of like she may have been able to fool some people, but when she did that, she kind of flipped, and I think most people could read through the lines. But
agreed.
But with the upcoming episode, I'm just looking for what's her name, Shannon, just to perform, because she's just going to spell it out to the girl who she stole her job from, supposedly.
Yeah, people are saying it's Alexis that Shannon is saying, I do think I took your job 10 years ago and I'm still here. Maybe she's talking to Alexis, I'm not sure. But who knows? No, I agree. Okay, Johnny, you want to share?
Oh.
You there?
Yeah, I am. I was muted. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm just I'm gonna do points that I like noticed the most at the reunion. I would say I do think Jen was like the sleeper MVP. I like how she was very neutral, but still having her girls back in the reunion. Um, Shannon really devoured the reunion. She ate, and
Mm-hmm.
and I would say something I didn't like, but I'ma let it slide. Was I think I sense a little microaggressions towards Katie and her like stories and stuff. But I might be reading too deep into it. But I want to know how you felt.
Because she's Asian?
Yeah, like saying she was lying about her story with the man and saying
I
like the
don't
police can't lie. But I don't know if I'm reading too deep. But maybe I don't know.
I mean, I think this is the thing with that. I don't think that there's microaggressions against Katie because she's Asian. I think that I think Gina's coming for Katie because Gina is trying to cover her own butt. Because
Okay.
I think Gina was talking mad crap about Heather to Katie. And then when Katie brought it to the show, Gina was like, whoa, 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 I don't want to be exposed for this. So I'm just going to say, Katie, you're a liar. Katie, you're a liar. Katie, you're a liar. So Heather doesn't get mad at me. So I think that's why Gina's going so hard against Katie and calling her a liar. I think Emily is just a follower and is a bulldog and does this to everybody. Look at what she's saying to Jen about everything. I think I understand what you're saying about the microaggression, because I thought when Katie was telling the story, I was like, well, the only way that they arrested this man at his own house, if she followed him, I was like, is he black? Because they're not arresting a white man
Right.
if he followed him to her house. I thought the same thing too. So I do think the fact that it's a story about a man being arrested, the police, it sounds like a Karen situation where someone's like, get off your phone, even though it's dangerous. And I would probably feel the same way. But like, you know what I mean? Like, it seems like a mind your business situation and the guy inserted himself. I think because of those layers, and she is Asian, I totally understand your gut feeling on saying microaggressions. But I just think that Heather is still in her feelings about the paparazzi stuff. And then I
Right.
also think that Gina is covering her butt, because I do think her boys said something about the fact that her and Shane and maybe even Gina talked badmouth Heather, that, oh, Heather yells at mommy. Because Gina has said this herself multiple times on the show. So I'm pretty sure her boys have heard her say this too. I think Kylie was wrong to bring up the conversation and to engage in a situation with little kids that she's babysitting. So I think that the truth is somewhere in the middle with that. So I think that Gina and Emily are both covering their own butts because they were trashing Heather. So they're just saying, Katie's a liar, Katie's a liar. And Heather's obviously going to agree with that because of the paparazzi stuff. But I don't think it has anything with her being Asian. But I understand what you said, because I think anytime we talk about the police, particularly in our culture and our community, I feel some type of way too. So I understand what you're saying.
All right. Yeah, I didn't want to seem too
Yeah.
crazy.
No, you're not crazy at all. You're not. No. Trust me. However you feel, you come on with the candy canes. You're not crazy. And I felt the same exact way when she was talking about the police. I was like, well, I wonder what race he is. Like, he's being tased and all this stuff. Like, I had the same exact thoughts and feelings and reactions. And I think the majority of, I don't know if you're black or not, but I think the majority of Black America, and not even Black America, just Americans who are awake and awoken, have some type of consciousness around that. So yeah.
But thank you for hearing that, because I was like, something is fishy. But I don't know.
No, I hear you. No, you're not crazy at all. Yep. Keep going.
But I would also say, I hope this is Alexis' last season. I hope they pull what they did on Salt Lake. Like, oh, we don't want to film with Alexis and Shannon. The only one to be like, I don't want to film with Alexis. And they're like, you know what, Alexis, bye. And I would be happy. I'm honestly, and you know, truth be told, I'm fine with the cast. Like, even I feel like if Tamra does come back, I do think that she's gonna probably lay low based off the
Oh, she's not
backlash.
welcome
So
back.
if I
She's
can
not
hear from
welcome
her
back.
less, she is fine with coming back.
Yep.
So
I
that's all
I
I have to
can't
say
with
with that.
Tamra. I can't with her. I mean,
I hope
out
she's
of
doing like an
nowhere,
apology
she's
tour or
going
something.
out of nowhere. She's going gung ho, saying that Alexis is now her close buddy. And to me, quite frankly, after that stunt that she thought would make her justified with every horrible thing that she said, to make fun of neurodiversity, are you okay? Like, why would someone do that? To me, to go to that level says you are someone who is just a threat to me. Like, I wouldn't want to be around someone that makes mockery of that. You know, one person saying to you one thing is hearsay. Like, before the pandemic, I did like maths tutoring with neurodiverse children of all sorts, and there are some of them that really have tough lives, and I've just felt, for her to kind of go in that direction, the woman is already dug herself a deep hole. But to go there, I think that if they bring her back, I actually will only watch the clips of Shannon and possibly Heather on this show, because to me there is no justification coming back from that. Like
I
I don't
agree.
know what your take is, but to me she's not welcome back.
Mm, I get that. I get that point of view. I'm more just so thinking like, you know, if she like I wouldn't. I'm because from a personal sense, I honestly probably don't want to be around a lot of these people.
Right.
But I was saying like, if she's on a show and it's like her quote unquote job, and she's like not, if she's not saying anything, and mind you, maybe because there's always a such thing as a takedown season as well. I wouldn't mind seeing that for her, because I feel like that's what it's kind of gearing towards a little bit. Like not everybody's on her side. I don't know. I I, I do feel like Emily goes wherever the wind blows or
You
whatever.
think?
But I feel like once Heather, I feel like if Heather like turns on Tamra, and it's Heather, Shannon, and the rest of the girls turning on Tamra, I do think that would be a pretty solid season. But that's just me trying to have a producer hat, I guess.
No, I agree. I think if Heather turned on Tamra and we had Gina, and honestly, even Emily was giving it to Tamra. So if we had
Yeah,
Gina, Shannon, Heather, Jen, yeah, takedown season, I'm here for it. Kind of how I think is what's going to happen on Beverly Hills. I think
yeah.
everyone's going to be against Kyle. I think it's going to be Kyle's takedown season.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't mind because, mind you, it's like I don't know none of these people, so it's like if I'm trying to put on a producer hat, I won't mind seeing a Tamara take that because she had one before and it was really good. I was when she was running from who when she was running and stuff and got
Yeah.
caught in her mess. Like it
Hmm.
was good TV. She's a disgusting person, but it was like good TV to see her finally get taken down. It's like even with like Monica, like she was good TV, but when she got taken down, that was the best part of the show when she got taken down and got wiped out. So
Yep.
that was just like me putting my producer hat on. And after that, she can go. But I don't want her to go unscathed.
I I think like with the prime cast members, but I mean in this show, your Shannon, your Heather, what have you. I just
Mhm.
think you can't change a show too dramatically. I mean, we all saw what a flop this fake New York has been this year. Like none of the cast like have synergy. Like you want the cast to have synergy. So with what like Candy was saying earlier, like if they actually had more people like your Shannons, like your Heathers, kind of like the characters like your also your Karen Hughes, that type. See with Potomac, like she's not like no one knows her full out yet, but when we heard about Stacey coming on, from what I've seen so far, she kind of isn't, a clone of Karen, or she's kind of like spells things out. And I want people who can actually say things in an elegant way, but actually be like fierce of it. And that's kind of what I see with people like your Karen Hughes, your Lisa Vanderpumps, and also your Shannon Bedours. And you don't have to also be sassy like someone like Kenya Moore, but that's funny. She's comical. I like her. But like, I'm just saying, like, I want people who kind of have that elegance still, but that shady side. You ask someone like Tamrat or Alexis, it's just a villain. And after what, I mean, after Candy spelled it out, like, actually, like, I had to look at the video, just the clip again. And I was just like, what? She really went that deep on her. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Hmm.
Because I would also say,
Yeah.
Tamara, I would also say when it comes to like Tamara and what makes her kind of different, like everyone else in the Housewives like universe is like she's been there like so long, and I feel like her style of housewife is like outdated. Like it's not like it's like we see
Tamra's?
the same thing. Yeah, it's out. Like she
Yeah.
was, because how long she been on there? Like since season
Since
two,
season 3 somehow.
three. Yeah, I was like, she been on there for a long time, and I think her style is like outdated, and I feel like her style is kind of like, you know, like at that time back then it was like different. Like, oh, an antagonistic person like Elisa Renna, because like she came on season 5, or like, you
Yes,
know,
yes.
all that. And so that's why I'm saying, like, even when like I think the only like show where it was just like when it got out of hand was with Lisa Renna. Cause it's like now I feel like that's when it showed like this type of housewife show is outdated. Like the exposing people, keep coming for somebody just because you want to make good content. Like all of that is just like that's not entertaining anymore.
I agree. And I think the same way with like Emily. That's why I called her the bulldog. And I'm like, you're not the host. She
She
literally came
is.
like, oh, well, I have another question. I haven't like, why are you interrogating these women with your like dissertation paper? Like, shut up, Emily. Why don't you talk about what's going on in your life? You know, are you and Shane happy? What's going on in your marriage? Do you have a job other than housewives? Or is your in-law subsidizing your lavish lifestyle, but yet you want to come for Jen and Katie? Like, girl, pipe down, be quiet. Like it's a hot mess. And I feel like Emily's doing that same thing where she's like, if I come with all these receipts and all this research and I take down people, then like that will secure me. But like we're over that, you know? Like I don't think that's entertaining. I don't want these women just to sit up here trying to think of reasons of how to destroy destroy each other. Like that's not entertainment.
Yeah.
Especially what she did to Katie. I mean, I don't care who you are. It is clear as day. And I'll just again say, in my opinion, that Katie was saying without saying that she was fleeing a violent situation. You know, you don't leave your household with 3 children to become homeless and not know where you're going because you feel safe.
100%.
You don't give up rights to your child because you don't have money, you don't have a place to live, you don't have means because you feel safe. And if you were with a man who was safe, and even though you're breaking up, that would not be the position that they would put you in. Millions of people separate every single day, and the man does not make his wife and children become homeless unless he is abusive.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
And
I
she said that, and Emily still had the audacity to say that dirty shit to her. And then you saw Katie basically breaking. And shout out to Heather Dubrow again, because I don't think Heather Dubrow is narcissistic. I don't think she's cold or anything like that. I think she's actually very woman, has a big heart. I think she's going through a lot. And she goes over to Katie and she goes, "I'm so sorry about your children. I was not going to bring that up." That is a real one. That is a real one, because out of anybody on that cast who had any ounce of a reason to say anything would be Heather. Katie kept going after her for no reason about paparazzi.
hmm
She had the decency to say, "I'm not going there." That just shows you
Yeah.
how dirty Emily is. Because what did Katie ever do to Emily? Not a damn thing. But yet she came with like stacks on stacks of like, I read this in page 6 about you that happened 10 years ago with a man who had road rage and was acting like a Karen. Like, Emily, shut up. That's no smoking gun. To be honest with you, I'm on Katie's side. Like, mind your business. You know, like I'm doing me in my car. You drive along in your car, sir. You know what I mean? Like today we call that a Karen. I don't know what the male version is. A Ken? I don't know. A Chad? I don't know.
And I
You know
I
what
would
I'm
say,
saying?
I like Katie. Like I like her. I didn't like her in
I
the
like
beginning.
I like Katie too. I think her biggest misstep was trusting Gina.
Yes, and I think in my view, you could tell like the difference between the women who needs the show and the women who likes being on the show.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's like I don't think Katie, like I think Katie wants to be on the show, but you can tell like she's really like is just living her life. And I think the only time she did a misstep was when she did the paparazzi thing with Heather,
Mm-hmm.
and it
I
was just
still find
like,
that situation weird though, because like when she was on the FaceTime or whatever to Sutton, and then was like,
Mm-hmm.
and even Sutton was like, I wouldn't go against her.
Yeah. Yeah, she's like,
Like,
"You're bringing the cow to the kitchen. You're gonna get 8."
and what do you think about the Sutton Heather Dubrow text message exchange?
Oh, Sutton. Well, I think that Sutton and Heather are friends. And I
No,
think
I'm talking about what they said about Katie.
about the fact that she like stood Sutton up or something for some
Yeah,
event.
yeah. What do you think? Do you think that happened, or?
I don't. I honestly think it just sounded like Katie was trying to like throw a party, and like not a lot of people came to the party that she threw, and Sutton was just using that to stay in Heather's good graces. Like
Yeah.
I don't see how that was scamming, because the story that was said was like, oh, Katie was supposed to have a bunch of golfers come to Sutton's house in Augusta for something. And then what Sutton was like, oh, but like not a lot of people showed up and she didn't pay for photographers or something. Like, how is that a fraud? To me, that just sounds like Katie tried to throw an event and it was a flop. But because Katie and Heather are beefing and Sutton knows Katie, I think Sutton was just sticking her alliance to Heather.
And we also have to understand Sutton can be a little overdramatic.
Yeah, it just sounded like Katie, and Katie was like, "No, I offered to like pay for everything." It just sounded to me like Katie tried to have an event, and the event was a flop. Because how was she using Sutton for what? Like, she didn't take Sutton's money. Like, if nobody showed up, she's not promoting anything. Like, what is she using Sutton for? It just seems like to me like she tried to have some event at her house, and it wasn't that highly attended. And Sutton is just now trying to do her allegiance to Heather. Like it was a nothing burger to me.
I think kind of the same way, in the sense that, like, you know, if it really was a deep thing, then, you know, I think she would have expanded more and would have said, like, you know, I paid for this and I did this and got trolled or something. But to me, it's just kind of like when someone just kind of lets something be a bit more vague, it's kind of like, what are you trying to do here? And like, I think, as you said, you know, I don't think they're super close friends, but her and Heather are somewhat these friends.
Yeah.
And I kind of think, I think what you said has some. It could actually be the case, because, like, what, now that you said it, I kind of feel like,
Yeah. Because like nothing.
even though Sutton's got this money coming in guaranteed, I mean, I wouldn't cry if I got 3.6 million a year, but kind of, I think she was just trying to be on Heather's, as you said, on Heather's side.
Yeah, because I also think with these women, it's like I think Katie's husband's money is real, and I think that Sutton's money is real, and Heather's money is real. So I don't even think it's about the money. For them, it's more about the prestige, like the invites, the circles, the alliances. So I think that Sutton was just trying to make sure that she was still aligned with Heather, given the fact that Heather and Katie were beefing. And also, like, Katie's beef with Heather was stupid. So, like, I get how Sutton's like, girl, I told you not to go after Heather, and you're beefing with her over something that is literally none of your business, and you don't even know her like that. Like, stop. That's why I feel bad for Katie, because I think that if Katie had not drank Gina's Kool-Aid about Heather, I think she would have had a much different season.
And weren't we sold that this was like one of Gina's closest friends or something? Kind of, this is like the fake wave is what Gina introduced her to.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. To me, I just think, like, at the end of the day, I don't think Katie, you know, she wasn't like the best first season impression I've seen on any of these shows, but I think keeping her for a second season would be fair game.
I think Katie is like, I'm trying to see how I can word this. I think Katie had a pretty decent first season. Like usually, especially with the last first season girls we've been getting, is either they give too much or nothing. And I feel like out of all the women of like any show, I think she probably integrated in the group probably the best out of any girl on say first season. Cause I feel like she really made genuine like bonds like with Jen and like Shannon. and all this other stuff. And I feel like other shows, I would say like, of course, like Potomac, like with Stacy and like with her, but it's just like they had like a little revamp, low key. Like I'm talking about like the girls who came in like with by themselves. So I think she kind of did pretty well. I just like I said, I think the only misstep she did have was not having an authentic um feud with Heather.
Yeah, it's giving Anna Marie vibes where she came in and she went so hard for Sutton about the esophagus.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
mean,
like,
but
and then Katie came in so hard with Heather about the paparazzi. It's like the same energy. Like
it's same
what,
energy,
why, and how.
I
but Anne
think
Marie
Katie
was
cleaned up really
worse.
well
But I
after
like
that.
Katie way more than Anna Marie.
I
100%.
mean, Loki, I never liked Anne Marie. Like from the get go, even in
I
the
never
train.
liked her either. I never liked her either.
I
She
mean,
was so delusional.
I just loved Garcelle's words. She was like, "Why, why are you bringing this up?" And two, why do you care?
And mind you, I think the paparazzi thing was only for like maybe 2 to 3 episodes. It wasn't like the esophagus was like half of the storyline for Anne Marie.
No, it was her whole storyline. Effectively, it
Yeah.
was I'm Kyle's minion, and I feel that this will make me sit well in Kyle's books. I mean, some people like I kind of think when they approach these shows. I mean, even when you look at other shows that are on this network that aren't from of this type, even like with Vanderpump, like when you had that um, Max guy that Sheena was obsessed with, like he was someone who like play, played the game kind of fair, but then got like lost after I don't know the eighth episode. Like it just became too confusing. Like he was just going. To me, I feel that if I had to keep four people from this show, it would be Shannon, Heather, Katie, and Jen. That would be
Yeah, I
my
agree.
call.
Same.
And I think that would be, and honestly, I think
Yeah, I'd
if they
keep the
keep those,
left and
okay.
throw away the right.
Literally. Oh, I didn't realize that you got this. I'm like,
So I was gonna say, like, I feel like if let's just say they do move forward with just like Shannon, Heather, Jen, and Katie, I think it's gonna change the dynamic of the show a lot, and I think it's gonna be like very positive. And then I feel like the center will be Shannon.
Do,
Yeah.
does this show need more work, or does Salt Lake City need more work?
You said do what?
It, does the show need more work and development? Because kind of with Salt Lake, you've just got some people there who need to go, and as here you have people who need to go, and I try to think which one is worse than the other.
Well, I'm gonna say my opinion like really fast. I'm about to head out.
Yeah, go
Um,
ahead.
I personally don't think the show need much work. I think 'cause I just feel like the toxicness just came from one person for the most part, and I feel like the point of a reality show is like to see people good and bad traits, and I feel like the only person who was just raw the whole time was Tamra, and it's just like girl,
Mhm.
bye, like go somewhere. Whereas on Salt Lake City, it's like you can tell who is putting on and who is. I feel like they can get rid of one person on OC and keep everybody, and it'll still be. I don't think the season was a bad season at all. I think the only thing that was like
Mhm. Oh, Johnny, I think your mic went out.
all these women. Oh, I'm sorry. I was saying I feel
Okay.
like if Tamara wasn't like, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I was saying like if Tamara didn't do what she did, and I hate the fact that Tamara did what she did. Like I'm not putting it out there, but I feel like Shannon shined way more because now she's closer with the other women.
Yeah, and she gave us someone to root for.
Yeah, so I think there's always. I feel like it's just me playing a little devil's advocate a little bit. I feel like OC is kind of. I think it was a great season. I feel like it was an amazing season for Shannon. But I feel like with Salt Lake City, I think it's a good season, but you still have those little gnats.
Yeah.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yo, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think nobody is really shining in Salt Lake City with what's going on. I think we've seen the worst of like kind of everybody a little bit. Like I think Lisa is shining, but like what Candy said before, Lisa is like she needs to give a I don't give a F energy to shine more.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
I
At
feel
least.
like the worst is coming out of people on that show.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, 100.
So that's just my take. I'm gonna head out. I got rid of the koala. I'm showing my face.
Hi. We'll have fun tonight. Be safe, okay?
All right, you have a good one. All right.
You
Take
too.
You
care.
too, Adam.
All right, bye.
I mean, do you feel exactly the same way? Like, that the show overall of the season was good, or do you think it was just, other than Shannon and Heather, would have just been mediocre?
I think it was a good season because I think it got better at the end when everybody sort of stuck up to Tamra. Because it's not fun when the toxic person is toxic and everybody cowers to them, but when the toxic person is toxic and the other people like call them out, that's what I enjoy more. Not that I enjoy the toxicity, but if it's going to be there, like when Jen finally stood up to Tamara, that was such like a heroic moment because Tamara had been so horrible and she like finally stands up to her. You know, when Shannon at the reunion is like 10 toes down, like, no, like, I don't want to be your friend anymore. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to storm off. I'm just going to sit here and tell you with my whole chest, I don't F with you anymore. Like those moments are really enjoyable to watch because they're very redeeming. But at the same time, I think overall, I would like a show that is a little bit more upbeat, a little bit lighter. I kind of want to get back to the Housewives where it's just like fun escapism, where it's not like I'm going to sit here and pull an Emily and do a dissertation on narcissism because these people are so evil that I'm watching, where the only thing I think about is how emotionally and mentally manipulative these people are. You know, I kind of want to get back to like the fun. That's why I hope the Real Housewives of London is like light and fun and, you know, just a good time like that. Because I think that's fun.
I kind of want it to be similar to Beverly Hills without Dorit. Like, I don't want any of Dorit's in my city. Like,
Yeah.
like that's kind of like my view on it, and just I kind of I would say that like both shows there's people that need to go, but my hope for Salt Lake City, which I didn't get to say in our last the last live of yours, was that kind of we see more of Lisa's friends and kind of that club, because when the show first came, even though the cast admitted at the reunion that it was Lisa who kind of helped the production company develop this show, they always kind of gave Heather the spotlight and was always making her number one. But I think as time has come on, especially last season as well as this season, they've realized that Lisa Barlow is that MVP. And I think after the reunion, Salt Lake City will, even though it may sound like an insult because this was the first one of these shows that ever happened, but I think Salt Lake City will be the better show next year. That's my hope.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I hope they cut Bronwyn. I don't want Bronwyn back in any capacity.
Likewise with Heather Gay's cousin.
Yeah, Whitney needs to go too.
Yes, but just one last thing I wanted to say before I go was that do you predict Beverly Hills to be better than any of the other shows that's been on?
Yeah, I think Beverly Hills is going to have a very strong season. I think it's gonna be really good because again, I think it's gonna be a season where they're like everybody's kind of done with the BS and they're done pretending. And I think they're gonna be really real, raw, and authentic. And I think Kyle's feet will be held to the fire in a way that it hasn't been before. So I do think that we're going to get a good season. I think Bozema is going to be a really great hire. I think she's going to add a lot to the cast. She seems really cool, down to earth, good energy, good vibe. I don't know a lot about her other than like the Netflix and like her husband passed away or some stuff like that. But I got a good vibe from her. Like Anna Marie, I never even heard her talk. It's just a picture of her, and I was like, oh no, I'm done. But Bozema,
I think she's going to be.
I got a good vibe from her. I think she's going to be really solid. I think it's going to be good.
Are you familiar with Stephen Bartlett? So he has this show called Diary of the CEO as a podcast.
Oh yeah.
And he did one on Bozema, and it was really good. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I think it'll be good. I'm tired of Dorit though. She can get taken down too.
I mean, yeah. No one over this side of the pond likes her anyway. So but on that note, thank you for the Dapper Live.
Yes, absolutely. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, and live life to the fullest for this weekend, as always.
Definitely. Woo woo. Thank you, Adam. Love you.
Much love. Bye.
You too. Bye. Shout out to my amazing panelists. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Johnny. Shout out to my amazing candy canes. Thank you, Miss T, my mod, for holding me down. Shout out to Give Me Shelter, Coffee is Brewing, Shy Thomas. Make It Make Sense. Hi, Mims. How are you? Hi, Eveline. Hi, Barbara. What is up? Cancer Queen. Love Monica. Nicole VT. Linnaeus. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Chocolate Chunks. What is up, Chocolate Chunks? Hi, KJ. What is up? Linnea Spacehead. What's up, sweetheart? How are you? Hey, Jordan. Hey, April. Hey, the Tea Lady. Hey, Tay Tay. Hey, DeWan. All right. Hey, Kristen. What is up, sweetheart? All right. If I missed you, I apologize. But thank you guys for watching. As always, a free way to help support me and the channel and get our Candy Cane community out there is simply subscribe, like, share. It's free and it really helps to grow the show. So I love you guys. Have a very safe and happy weekend. And I will see you guys on Monday for Potomac. Mwah. Love you. Bye.